Where does our drinking water come from? A watershed is the land area that channels snowmelt and rainfall to rivers, creeks, and streams. Our drinking water here in Las Vegas, New Mexico, solely comes from the Upper Guayanus watershed. Think of our local watershed as a large bowl contoured with the hills and valleys within it. Snowfall in the Upper Guayanus collects and forms our snowpack. Watermelt and rainwater are captured within our watershed and drained from minor tributaries to the larger Beaver and Guayanus creeks. The city of Las Vegas operates a diversion dam downstream from these tributaries and creeks, where a portion is redirected into our sedimentation pond. Here, gravity helps separate suspended solids from the water.
We're here presently at the City of Las Vegas water treatment plant settling pond, which is just after our reservoir diversion dam, located that way.
The diversion dam is where we get all our drinking water. The water is diverted directly from here, and it's all gravity fed. The whole thing's gravity fed, no pumps, no electrical, no nothing to get it to the Peterson Reservoir.
This is where we receive the water that we settle out our NTUs, our turbidity. Basically, a lot of our heavy solids, sand, silt, so sort of a pre-treatment. This holds about roughly 1.5, 1.6 million gallons.
Water then flows to two separate reservoirs, Bradner Reservoir and Peterson Reservoir.
We are at Bradner Dam. It can receive water from Peterson. And then from here, you'll see in the background is our intake structure, our tower. It has 3 or 4 levels where we can take water. We can choose to take water based on usually water quality tests like NTUs, temperature, and we can choose which gate to open, which gate to close. We're at Peterson Reservoir, which is now frozen over. We have about 300 to 400 acre feet of water in our reservoir. It's one of the oldest. It was built in 1911 before New Mexico became a state. It is still functional fully. From here is where we receive from our settling pond in Guayanus Canyon. And from here is where we distribute the water either to Bradner or straight into our facility, our water treatment plant facility.
Water is then brought to the Las Vegas Water Treatment Plant, where it is treated to a high standard, stored and made available to our local community to enjoy. So behind us, the immediate structure you see is our clarifier. But before that, in the distance behind the trees is our raw water building. Our raw water building is where we take the raw water coming in from Peterson Dam, which initially comes from the Guayanus River. In our raw water intake, we distribute it to this structure right here, which is our clarifier, where we introduce our first chemicals, which is polymer and alum, aluminum sulfate, along with some injection of chlorine. From there, it makes its way through a train of paddles, which all initially mix the chemicals to a waiting basin just beyond, and where it settles out all our NTUs, or at least probably about 70% of our material. From there, it moves on to, in a little farther distance, the farthest building we have, which is our filter building, where we do our filtration and our backwashes. In our filtration, we use garnet and a couple of different strands of sand, and then finally anthracite on top. So basically like a water filter. From there, it moves on to our clear well, which is our last structure before it gets sent to our 5 million gallon tank at cabin site. Clean and available water is a scarce resource in our world. The care for our watershed is paramount for a healthy and thriving community. The availability of clean water is a human right that everyone should have access to. Protect our watershed.